Let's dive into this next interview. It's going to be Beth Nelson. Before we get to there, we have some quick announcements. Number one is, if you are an entrepreneur or high achiever and you're committed to growing and becoming your greatest possible self, but you feel like you're stuck, you've plateaued, you're not making the progress that you desire, you feel like something's missing, you just know that there's the next gear that you can tap into to be and become your greatest possible self. The 21-day challenge might be a perfect fit for you to reignite yourself, your self-belief, your action, and your power to create your reality. What we'll do is we'll get clear on, number one, your 21-day goal so that you're on track and aligned to achieve that, but also what you want to achieve further on down the line so you can pull from that why, that power, that dream, that vision. So that's number one. And number two is you're going to have daily accountability and check-ins to make sure that you're accomplishing your 21-day goal, so that you can succeed. It's like the biggest, most supportive thing you could ever get into. It's like every single day, checking in. I love it. It's a blast. So we'll do that. We'll dive into your daily routines, morning and nighttime routines and rituals, to make sure that you're on the paths of success. So if you are interested and committed, send me a message and let me know the message. You can message me on Facebook, facebook.com/th3burns, or you can send me an email, chris@beyourgps, or just find me however you find me and let me know that you're interested and committed, and I'll send you an intake form, and we'll see if it's a good fit. It is not a good fit for everyone because it's very intense and it is no BS, no holds barred. Get your butt across that finish line and achieve your goal. So if you're ready for that intensity and that breakthrough, then let's get in touch. Make it happen, Captain. The next section is our iTunes review of the week by Luna Goon. Luna Goon says, value pack, taking you to new levels. Chris is an incredible interviewer. He is super smart, silly, and has a gigantic heart of gold. Aww. He genuinely cares for his fans and bends over backwards to deliver high-end value for everyone he meets. This is a must listen. I recommend making time for it every week. Thanks, Chris, for your continued contributions. Thank you so much, Lunagoon. And if you want to leave us a review, give us some feedback, let us know how we're doing. You want a certain type of guest on more, you didn't like a certain type of guest, whatever, just let us know, and we appreciate all feedback. Search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes, or go to beyourgps.com/iTunes to find our podcast, or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on Facebook, and you can give us a review there. Next is going to be the introduction of the one and the only Beth Nelson, who we met at the Your Authority Blueprint live event with Michael Neely, which was super awesome. Highly recommend you go next year when he has it again. And she's just awesome. I knew that she has this great light in her and helps people find their purpose and live a great life. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's get into this introduction for Beth. Beth is an inspiration and leader for women who are ready to awaken into the fullest version of themselves at midlife and leave a meaningful impact on the world. As a life purpose clarity coach, confused and disengaged women in their 50s and 60s hire her to build the necessary confidence to reinvent themselves and create a life full of passion, purpose, and authenticity. Her workshops, retreats, private coaching, and online programs have helped over 100 women in the last year to uncover their unconscious beliefs and make lasting change to feel more vital and engaged in midlife and beyond. Beth created Ignited Women in 2016 to unleash the greatly underutilized wisdom of midlife women into the world and foster a cultural shift in how they are seen and valued. As a yoga instructor, she has guided hundreds of women to a deeper quality of presence through movement and stillness. She is a licensed Desire Map and Fire Starter facilitator and a 500-hour certified yoga teacher. And Beth Nelson is about to rock the house with us. I got her here. Beth, you ready to rock this?
I am ready, Chris. I am ready.
Right, we ready too. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Welcome, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share with our audience your wisdom, your experience, and how we can be our greatest possible self. Thank you.
I'm so glad to be here, and wow, you put me on with some powerhouses today. I was just listening to Morgana and a few other of my contemporaries will be on today, Melissa, and I can't remember who else, but anyway, I'm thrilled to be among such royalty.
Powerhouses. That's right, Beth. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to share some really great wisdom with our audience. And it all starts with our theme of the day, which today is calling in your creations. So, Beth, how do you call in your creations, and how has this concept made a difference for you? How has it impacted your life?
Wow, that is a big question.
Yeah.
The first answer that came to me is calling in my creation through my body wisdom. Through really slowing down, breathing, getting into my body, especially into my womb space where all of my wisdom resides. And for me, I know, I probably will get into this a little bit more, but I had gotten really disconnected from that part of me a few years ago. And so it's been quite a journey for me to come back into that. And part of that is, teaching yoga and moving more deeply into personal development as I have through Ignited Women.
Yeah, wow. So do you think, this is a personal question, because I know about, the gut, like the feeling of the gut or the womb for women, like whatever that sensation of drive of wisdom is. Do you think that that's like, is it the same in both men and women? And is that a different wisdom than the heart? Is it a different wisdom than the head in your experience?
I believe it is a different wisdom, and I believe that it's both male and female. It, comes from, when you think of the chakras, the second chakra is the Svadhisthana, and that's that, the reproductive area of both men and women.
Right.
And I don't remember exactly, but I do remember reading that there's actually almost a brain center, that there's nerves that can think and feel that come from that area. It's not just I almost said an old wives' tale, but I don't like using that term. A bit of wisdom that something comes from the gut. There really is some truth to it, I believe. And I believe that, we have the gut, the heart, and the head that govern us.
So beautiful. I love it. Great start to this interview. I love being curious and discussing these things. And that's what a lot of this is just discussing what's worked for you in your philosophy and in your life to be your greatest possible self, and also help other people achieve that. So we're going to dive into, a little bit more about that. And we're going to start with, what is it that specifically that Ignited Women, what does that do? And what are you all about these days? And what can people count on you for?
So Ignited Women is a way of, I've experienced this myself, and I've noticed it in a lot of other women as we transition into midlife, that there's this fading back into the background, that there is a sense that we're no longer relevant. And so my real goal with Ignited Women is to let that spark. That's why I named it Ignited Women. I wanted that sense of, there's a power within us, that light within that may have gone a little bit dim. And what can we do to spark that even more? And part of it is really getting clear on what you want and owning your wisdom and owning the things that are holding you back from getting you what you want. A lot of it is we spent all these years piling on all these ideas and techniques for keeping us safe. And they don't serve us anymore.
Nope.
And it's easy to just kind of stay with that and live in a life of mediocrity when I know, and I think many of us know inside that we're destined for more. And that's what I really love about what you're up to, Chris, is that it's about not just, you're not saying being your, sort of okay self, be your greatest self. Who are we not to be our greatest self?
Yes. That's it, and I think that is an inspiring call to action that I get to wake up to every day. Some days I don't feel like being my greatest possible self. Some days I don't feel like that, but it's the standard, the bar, that I set for myself. And I believe it's so important to surround ourselves with people who set that bar high. And that's why I was excited to have you on the show, Beth, because I just, your presence at the event, I just knew like you set that bar high in your life and for the people around you in your life as well. So that's super awesome. So let's go back into the journey a little bit to see like where did this come from? How did you create Ignited Women? Where did it all start?
Wow. So when I was in my mid to late 40s, I was working a job. I had spent a lot of my career in social justice work, working for others and for a cause for those who were underserved. And I had a job as a program manager at a local community college, and it was a very demanding job. I mean, it was rewarding because I knew that I was making a difference in many people's lives, but I was sort of in the background. So I was dealing with budgets and bureaucracies and stuff that really didn't match my best skills.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I didn't realize it because no one talks about this. I was in the midst of what's called perimenopause, which is the years leading up to transitioning through menopause. And during this time, I love Brene Brown coined this phrase called that midlife is an unraveling. So it's not just one thing, but it's all these different things that are happening. And it was all happening to me at once, where I was physically changing. I wasn't handling stress in the same way. I was mentally, just feeling burnt out and like, oh my God, I've got how many more years of doing this career and can I do this? And spiritually, I felt this deeper calling, like, I'm almost halfway done with my life. What am I leaving behind? What's the legacy? What's I going to be remembered by? I chose not to have children, so I don't, have anyone to pass along my knowledge unless I choose to do it myself. So as the universe works, I got laid off from that job. Funding dried up, so I was laid off from the program manager job, and I had just started a yoga teacher training, and the whole point of me doing the yoga teacher training was just for my own development. I remember saying, I'll never teach. So as I got laid off from my job, I realized I cannot manage to go back and do another job like this. It was just taking too much out of my soul, and it did not feel aligned. Wow. And so I felt this struggle happening within inside of me. Do I continue on the path as I've been trained to do and attain more and achieve more and become more successful? Or do I really follow my heart and do something that feels better to me? So during that time, not only was I in a yoga teacher training, actually probably a few months after, I hired a business coach. Happened to be Megan Healy, Michael's wife. And in that process, I remember kind of feeling like, okay, well, everyone else is getting it. Everyone else is going to have their, program at the end of this. And I'm special because I'm older and, I don't have as many skills. And I was just really playing small. And I'll never forget this. We were at one of our retreats, and we were going through an exercise to get clearer on what my genius is or what my gifts really are. And what showed up was my vibrancy and my willingness to stay young even as I got older. I've always, in my late 30s and into my 40s, I was a pretty high-end athlete. I was a triathlete. I was heavily into training. Then that led into injuries, which led me to yoga. So during this retreat, one of the participants, I was, again, playing small, like, well, yeah, I probably could help women, but I'm not really sure how. And she literally took my shoulders and shook me and got right in my face and said, I'm mad at you. And I'm not great with anger. Wasn't at the time. And she's like, I'm really mad at you. People need you and you are not showing up fully. Wow. And we ended up kind of getting this little bit of a wrestling match, which scared the heck out of everybody else in the room. But I got it. I got what she was trying to do, that she was holding a space for me to show up more fully. And when I felt that, I wanted to do the same for other midlife women. So that's what led to me deciding to start a program, to really take a stand for women, not only to play big and be bold, but to also understand the importance of our wisdom. That our wisdom was gained through some hard knocks and, some beautiful experiences. And it's meant to be shared, and it's meant to help transform the world. and heal the world in a way that is so needed.
Amazing. I love it. I love the story, and I love how like it's never too late to reinvent yourself, to create a new destiny, a new purpose. Like you got literally shaken up by life.
Yeah.
Like and you saw a new opportunity, a new perspective, and I think that's amazing. So loved hearing the story, and fast forwarding. What do you see the difference and the impact of Ignited Women making in the world because of its existence?
What I see are more women saying yes to themselves, and in a consistent way, not just, oh, let's go away for a weekend retreat and feel good and then go back to our daily grind the next day. I feel, I've had several clients comment to me, wow, you figured, you helped me unpack all of this stuff to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing next. And, some are scared. It's a scary thing to start again at the middle of your life, especially with, if things are settled in, if you're financially stable and, kind of taking that safety net out from underneath of you at age 50 can be a scary thing, but yet at the same time, it's so invigorating. And I still envision such a bigger impact than I'm having now in terms of, I would love, this is my vision. This is the first time I'm saying this publicly.
Yes. I love being the first.
You get to be the one. So what I see is a way of connecting women with projects, whether it be in a volunteer opportunity or something that they're passionate about. Even if it's like, I think of my mother. My mother is an avid bridge player. And we were talking, I just saw her a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how that's going to be a lost art. Well, it's not something I'm interested in. My brain doesn't quite work like that, but there are probably many women and men who might be interested in that. And so how can she carry on that tradition? So what I want is to have this network of women that can either be called upon through a volunteer organization that everybody, it's a clearinghouse, so that people come through us when they need volunteers, or they come to us when they need a mentor, or we go to them, or, some kind of interactive way of plugging back in to society and making a difference.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love it. I love the network style of it, and I think that's what today's, in my opinion, is much needed. Is needed in today's world. Is so many people are thinking that they have to be isolated, or that they don't have answers, or they can't. They think that they have to do it alone. And if only they knew that there was communities or groups or something like that was available to them with their specific focus and passion and things like that, the more we can create these communities for people, the better. And people can search on Google and stuff like that, but having a network of people where you can say, hey, I'm looking for this, it's just so much more of a personalized, trusting relationship that we can be directed in to know what our next steps are. Right.
And, an obstacle that I often hear about, and it's often assumed, is that midlife women over 45, we weren't, I don't even know the term, when native, the technology isn't native to us. We didn't grow up with computers and Facebook and meetups and all of the other ways of connecting with each other. But that doesn't mean we can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And so, I just get so frustrated when I'm on a tech call and, either they see me or hear my voice and sense that I'm older, and they go, did you put your power button in? That's a little bit off topic, but, again, I realized as you were talking, Chris, and saying about being isolated, that I isolate myself still. Like, I sit in my little office and I go, gosh, I wish I could be doing that, and I wish I could connect with that. And so I'm just now starting to feel brave enough to go out there and.
That's awesome.
You
speak and communicate well, so it must just be like, mental mental. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, you're doing great. I love the conversation so far. So in terms of like really mastering our midlife, what is the foundation? What do we need to know to start doing that? We could start with women, or if it applies to both genders, you can tell us that as well.
Okay. So the first thing is accepting the change. Mm-hmm. And that, it sounds like, oh, well, that's either really undoable or hard to achieve. We're bombarded in this society with images of actresses over 50 who are so full of plastic and plastic surgery and everything to stay looking young, that we don't have role models of women over 50 who look like they're over 50. Right. So I that's the biggest part of it, is not buying into this notion that we have to look a certain way, act a certain way. I told this story a few times that in my mid-40s, one of my coworkers said to me, well, you're getting a little bit older, you need to cut your hair off. And I did. I cut it all the way up to my shoulders. Wow. And I had this, little 50-year-old bob do, it didn't work for me because my hair is this beautiful long red hair, and I love having it. And why should my age define how long and how I wear my hair? So that's one of the things, is really accepting the aging process. Yes, you're going to go through some changes in energy and changes in libido and all kinds of physical changes, but that doesn't mean that you can't make adjustments. I am so inspired. As I mentioned, I was a triathlete for many years. There's women in their 60s and 70s who are kicking it, still out there doing marathons, full length, Ironman triathlons. And why not? They're competing against their own age rather than someone trying to be something that they're not. So I think that is a really key point, is to accept where you are in the process and take care of yourself in a different way. Yes, it takes a little more energy. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. What do you think is the secret or the access to being able to do things like that and have a youthful mindset or youthful spirit regardless of the age? Like these women who are competing at 60 and 70 years old, like how do they do that? What does that take?
Mentally, mindset, it takes not being defined by your age.
Yeah.
Christiane Northrup is another person that I really admire. She's written several books. One of them is The Ageless Goddess. And the other one is I got it right here, The Wisdom of Menopause. So she is a doctor. She's an OBGYN. But she talks repeatedly about not allowing yourself to use self-deprecating words about your age. Like none of the, I'm having a senior moment, I can't remember. Or, I can't get out of this chair. So that is like you heard me, I think earlier, say something about an age-old belief or old wives' tale, and I'm like, no, I gotta reframe that. So I'm catching it earlier now, and I teach others to catch that in the same way. Because I remember my mother telling me years ago, she's like, in my head, I'm still 25. In my head, I'm still 25.
Right.
But thank God I have more wisdom than I did then.
Yes.
So I think that's a key, is the mindset of knowing that it's just marketing that's telling us that we need this cream or this lotion or this supplement to make us feel younger. And in some cases it does help, but the main thing is the mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing is to give ourselves permission to dream again, to give ourselves permission to go after it. It's like, you know what? I can do this. I can figure it out. I can do whatever it takes to be able to run a marathon. And it's like you said, not being defined by your age, and also who are you? What do you stand for? And I think the big thing is also self-care, like you mentioned, because you can say, I'm going to go run a, triathlon at 70 years old. Okay. what are you going to do to make sure you take care of yourself?
Yeah. And it's going to take more than it would for a 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of discipline. So it's making sure that you are really aligned with your passion.
Wow.
There's a lot of work that I do with my one-on-one clients, and I'll be doing in the group program that I'm starting soon, that is around going back to not the old passions, but previous passions, like that we let go of, and not knowing why we let go of them. I can bring a great example is I like many other young women, danced in high school. I took ballet and tap and jazz, and I really enjoyed it. And of course, danced a little bit in college, out at the clubs and so forth. And then I gave that up because it felt so frivolous.
Wow.
And in the last year, I picked it back up again. I was doing world dance. So one song would be Bollywood, and the next song would be salsa, and the next song.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it was so good to be back in my body again. I'm like, why did I stop doing this? And I never understood why. Life just kind of gets in the way, and that's really true for a lot of women, that the whole middle years are about fostering and nurturing either children or a career or a cause. And then at midlife, there's a different sense of freedom.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing is to design a life where you don't have to, there's no belief or rule that says you have to give up everything that you love when you say, I'm going to raise kids, or I'm going to, I'm going to work and raise kids and have an amazing relationship with my husband. Like, you just got to figure it out. You just design your life. You have communication. You have structures in place. You figure out what it's going to take. Maybe you need a babysitter. Maybe you ask the husband to stay home sometimes. Maybe you something. I don't know. Whatever that might be. But I think it's like a lot of women think they have to give stuff up along the journey. And, wherever people are at, whether they're young, old, quote unquote, like you can create that passion again. You can reignite that passion. You can restoke that fire and just go do whatever you want to do. Go paint, go dance, go, whatever that is. And I think that's something that I'm grateful to be a champion for, because like you saw me and my girlfriend dancing at Michael Neely's event. I love dancing. I love dancing, and it's like that's such a huge part of so many cultures, to be able to dance, to be able to express ourselves and be fluid and in flow. And one of the people in my mastermind, who's telling me he's having some challenges with dancing, and he's reading this book like why white men don't dance or something like that. And so he said there was like just information in there about how culturally there were things that happened in the 1900s that made white men not want to dance. And I think that stigma kind of applied to different generations and different cultures, and like spread out. It wasn't just like white men, but even women probably said, oh, you're not allowed to have fun, you're not allowed to be expressive, you're not allowed to do this, or do you have to do this, and not that this is who I am, but some people said, just sit down and shut up and do what you're told. And that's like not at all what it means to be a human being. That's not at all what it means to be self-expressed and living in your purpose. And who the F has the right to tell someone what to do and how to live their life? And I think a big movement these days is women who are experiencing like abuse and stuff, to be able to recognize that it's not a part of being a wife or a spouse or whatever it might be, or a mom, that you have to get berated, you have to get abused, you have to get hurt, verbally, physically, sexually, whatever. Like, that's not a part of that. They don't go together hand in hand. It's like there's a great relationship or there's a crappy relationship. There's a marriage, and then it can either be a great marriage or a crappy marriage. And it's important that every single person has the audacity, has the boldness, has the love for themselves to get into a situation that they're taking care of themselves and they're self-expressed.
Yes, very well said. And it reminds me of a lot of the work that I do as well is based on the desire map. And the desire map is a holistic system to identify keywords that really show how you want to feel. I have done this process probably 5 times. And each time I get closer and closer to the words, or And I usually it's about 5 words, and my words are bold, connected,
yes,
ignited, hence
wow,
ignited women,
wow,
and divine.
wow,
Because I have struggled in the past with feeling worthy. And I needed a word. And the first round of, this is a little bit out of context, but I'll continue on this thought.
yeah,
The first round of doing this process, I was dancing around being divine and trying to figure out what the word was that would make me feel worthy. And worthy wasn't it. And it was like whole, grounded, something else, so it was sort of like describing it, and then at some point it just showed up. And when I say divine, it just makes me puff up,
yeah,
makes me own my value.
yes.
And it's same with ignited. It's just like that fiery part in me, and really owning that that's unique to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's like that energetic relationship with that word and what it means to you, because like your word is let's say ignited, and to someone else it might be like, oh, ignited, that's cool, but to you it's like that defines you. That's your way of being. You stand for being ignited. You are ignited, and you are connected. You are bold. You are divine. Like those words resonate with you because that's how you're committed to showing up in the world. And I think it's just beautiful how we find out these words that trigger us in a good way, that trigger our greatness, trigger our ascension, trigger our growth, our leveling up, so to speak. It's amazing.
Marion Woodman, who was a Jungian analyst, referred to those words as your soul cry. And, it's unpacking each person's word. So, those days when I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do another Facebook post. I don't want to send another email.
Right.
I don't want to make another cold call. Then I write down my words. And, I breathe into each one of them. So that's a technique,
Wow.
Getting back to what are the things that women or anyone on this path can do. And this is certainly not just for midlife women, but it's an area that I'm very passionate about, because I just don't like the way that there is no role for us in our society. I'm not going to say no role, but not as a big of a role as there used to be in our society, and I want to shift that.
So amazing. So as far as helping these women, what else do you think is important for them to get so that they can step into their power and their purpose and live a fulfilling life?
Definitely getting their genius, like understanding what their unique calling is, if you want to put it that way. And oftentimes when I use that phrase, what's your calling, it evokes this. So it should be, Mother Teresa and the skies part and the violins start playing and like, this is what I'm meant to do. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's not like that at all. Sometimes it can be as simple as, my calling is to be the best grandmother ever. My grandkids, to show them love in a way that they will remember for the rest of their lives. It could be as simple as, my calling is I make the best pineapple upside down cake in the world, and I nourish people, and I make them feel special. So having the tenacity to keep at it and to really own, I really find that so many women want to, I'm kind of good at this, but I wouldn't say that's my genius, because nobody wants, we're taught not to brag. And so I think a big part of that, I guess, honestly, the deeper answer is brag a little bit. Own it. Own your power. And consistently nurture that. It's just like any muscle that I need to train when I'm training for a marathon. It's imperfect and consistent action. It's not me waking up that morning and taking off and running 26.2 miles. It's all those rainy mornings when I'm half asleep, and my feet hurt and my hips hurt and I don't want to, and I get out there anyway. That's what shows up on the racing day. And that's what shows up. So you have to have that resilience.
Yeah.
To keep going.
Yeah, resilience and like the strong why, the strong direction, you know, and I think that there is an aspect of like, hey, if you want to be the best grandma, if you want to be the best, you know, upside down cake creator, then go for it, all you know. And I think that everyone in this conversation, we're inviting you to play at a bigger level than that. That's a great start. That's a great first step, like not knocking it at all. And we know, and you know, that there's always another level up that you can go. Yeah. So, like, I think the biggest thing that's helped me is having a coaching conversation or a conversation with someone who's achieved the results that I want or who can see what I want from a perspective or a view that is not attached, but rather detached and can give me that feedback and guidance on what's most important to me. So, you know, for anyone who's listening, I definitely recommend, if you're resonating with Beth's message, have a conversation with her so that you can step up to that level of purpose and fulfillment and execution, and you don't just automatically play small in what you're comfortable with and say, okay, I'm going to do cakes for the rest of my life. Or, you know, like you see what really is there. You have conversations about it. You're willing to peel back the layers. You're willing to see what are the skills that you have? What are the abilities that you have? What are the resources, both tangible and intangible? What is your heart feel amazing when you're doing, and how can you make a difference in other people's lives? I think that's a huge thing, is like making that difference in other people's lives, just showing up and being of service and adding values, such an igniter of joy and love and passion.
I love how you keep using ignited.
That's right. That's right. I think that should be one of my words too.
I think so too. I'll let you borrow it.
Yes.
So it's about getting curious. And continue to stay curious and engaged, instead of checking out. I mean, I there's no coincidence that wine is, really marketed to midlife women, and we have, that ability to kind of go into numbing.
Yeah.
Because
numbing. That's such like a big topic these days. I feel like it's like everyone who's like out to get the best performance. Like I think every human being who's not like a ascended master or something, like monk or something, has numbing activities, has things that they do to avoid and to hide out and to, just play small. And I want to talk a little bit more about that. Tell us more about what you see numbing as and just your perspective on it.
Numbing can be anything from drugs, alcohol, being on Facebook.
Yep.
Just checking out. And it's often because you're at an edge. Like it's getting a little bit uncomfortable and it's scary to go there. And so you're dipping your toes into something that could be a limiting belief, a story that you held that's been held in your body or held in your heart for years or even generations. And a way of avoiding feeling it is to numb. And it's very prevalent. And I want to let go of the judgment of it, because a lot of people, all of us have some sort of numbing, whether it's a dependency or a tendency, whatever it is, we all do it. It's human nature to do it. But at what point do you kind of snap yourself back into it and realize? So that's a lot of the work that I do as well, is stopping it in process before it gets out of hand. So it's and noticing the times that cause you to numb and creating new behaviors to move away from it.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. And I think that it's the more awareness we have of when we're in those patterns and in those moments, the better choices we can make. It's educating ourselves. It's getting around communities. That's why I love networks and communities of people who have a similar goal. That's why I created this show. It's like everyone who comes on here wants to be or become or help others become their greatest possible self. And I love the power of community. I love the power of support. And even me, like I've had challenges with numbing and avoiding and hiding out and playing small. But I found when I surround myself with people who don't tolerate that or won't allow that, like there's no room for me to get away with it. Like especially my girlfriend, she raises the bar, the standard on how I show up all the time, and just keeps reminding me about how great I am and how great she sees me and how capable I am, how much potential I have, and it's up to me to fulfill on that. And then there's also an aspect of me that's like, hey, I know if I want to keep this woman, this incredible, woman of my dreams, it's essential that I step up. It's essential that I keep growing. It's essential that I don't stay stuck in whatever the old unconscious patterns were, but rather I work through them. I show that I'm making progress, and I keep at it until I've broken through it. And I think that there's a stronger fire in me because of that. So, what can people do to cultivate that fire, to ignite that fire within them so that they have more drive and more willingness to get outside of their comfort zone? What would you recommend for that?
The first thing that popped into my head is getting really clear boundaries. So it's not about what you want to do, but it's what you want to stop doing. Recognizing the things that are throwing you off track and not making excuses, being that stand for yourself. One of the exercises that I do is called the stop doing list. It was taken from Danielle Laporte and the work that I do with the Desire Map, where you list out all the things that you're going to stop doing and having that present so that you can make sure that you actually stop doing it or recognize why you're doing it, or maybe shifting how it's done. I've witnessed a lot of disengaged women who don't feel they have a right or don't know how to set a boundary. Boundary with themselves or a boundary with another person. And that is in part societal. I as I mentioned, I just got back from a long visit with my mom. And she carries a lot of the family stories, and she spoke a lot this trip about how she was treated as a woman. She grew up during the Depression, and how she was treated, and how the expectations of her were less than her brother, my uncle, and even her mother and my grandmother and her sisters, how they were treated and the expectations of them. And even though, I always had this image of my Aunt Grace. She was sort of the pillar of the family. She was my great aunt. And she went off and had her own career in the early 1920s, in rural Maine, which is kind of unheard of. And I think she got fired because she got married. Then she moved to another job. She got a job, but they wouldn't hire. No, I think she demanded, or I can't remember how the story went. It wouldn't make sense if she demanded it, but her husband got hired at the same job. She had the higher skills, but he automatically was paid more than she was. So, working around all of these, we're carrying the generational burden of our family. Yeah. And that's a big part of why I'm doing what I do as well. I watched my mother transform a lot during midlife. My parents divorced. She became very independent and very successful. And I witnessed all of that and watching her become her own self. And so that was a big influence on me. So I think the biggest thing is boundaries and honoring yourself enough to keep those boundaries and ask for help.
Yeah, that's huge. Is like knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, knowing what you will and won't tolerate. It's those boundaries, maintaining and enforcing those boundaries, which for a lot of, I imagine, women is not as easy because they have kind of maybe in life not necessarily been the leader charging forward and giving the orders and the commands to the team, to the family kind of thing. Maybe so.
But they're the ones in charge.
That's right. That's right. But I think like the mindset, the biggest part is the mindset that oftentimes they don't feel like that, or they don't recognize their power. They don't recognize their greatness. So to step into that can be uncomfortable or different for them. And I'm grateful that we're giving them a call to action to come forth and do that. It's super awesome. So Beth, in terms of getting this message out, what do you see yourself doing to impact more women and ignite more women? And I know you mentioned this network. What do you see as being the most effective thing for you to do to reach these women?
I am definitely being called to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. I have the name of it. I have been just inundated with other things. I went to the podcast movement convention in July, which got me fired up as well. And of course, Michael's event, the Your Authority Blueprint Live. Mm-hmm. So the name of my podcast is Hot Flashes, Sparks of Inspiration for Midlife Women.
Wow.
So
that's juicy.
Yeah, and that was like this divine download where that name came from. So I'm going with it.
It's good. It's a good keyword.
Yeah, I think so too. And just as long as people understand it's not really about the physical, sort of, but not really. So I want that to be a forum to just have women start to come out from hiding, honestly. A lot of women feel this way, and we don't talk about it, and we don't come together, because there's this notion that women can be kind of mean to each other. Yeah. We can be kind of competitive. And so I want to break that. So it's starting with a podcast. Also, I really want to do more speaking engagements where I can get to larger audiences and point out that, midlife is not a crisis. It's not the beginning of the end. It's actually a beautiful reawakening, a spiritual reawakening, and a time for us to shine and live into the freedom with health and vitality. I mean, we are the largest population. The largest population growth is, I think, those 55 and older, because the baby boomers, I'm sort of the tail end of the baby boom, but the baby boomers are starting to age and we're living longer. I think more women are starting new businesses. So it's being bold and speaking my truth, being vulnerable, getting out there, having a larger online presence, and also working, instead of what I've done thus far is a lot of private one-on-one coaching, as I'm, just getting all my techniques worked through and so forth. And now going into a group online program starting in October. Wow. And from there, I'm going to see where it goes, hopefully creating masterminds, and I've got all kinds of great ideas.
That's right. Awesome. Awesome, Beth. Super exciting. So let's bring this home. Call to action, recap for everyone. What is the final takeaways for our midlife women?
I think I had just said it, that midlife is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter, a new way of taking all of those beautiful experiences that you've created in your life, or even the ones that were challenging for you. But guess what? You made it through. You're still here. Yeah. And taking all those and creating something unique that expresses you in the most authentic way, and being a source for other midlife women as well, being an inspiration for them. I just love when I bring women together and they go, oh my gosh, you feel like that too? Yeah, that sounds like something I've been through. And then they're off and running. So the big call to action is stand up for what you believe in, figure out your values, figure out your genius, your calling, whatever you want to call it, your superpower, whatever that thing is that lights you up inside, and nurture that. And the universe will answer. I promise you that the universe will answer if you're showing up as fully as you can. And why not? Why not?
That's right.
What's the alternative? Living a life of mediocrity where you're getting by, but not really feeling that great.
No, thank you. Not us. Not here. Not on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. So, Beth, this has been amazing. I know there's people who want to stay connected with you and take that next step. How do they do that?
ignitedwomen.net. ignitedwomen.net is my website. And I have a couple of gifts available on that site. One is an ebook called Awaken Your Purpose in Midlife and Beyond. It talks about the 3 mistakes that midlife women make and then solutions to them. And then there's also another gift, because many of us women, and probably men as well, but women especially, go through a lot of insomnia as we're transitioning through menopause, especially. And I created an audio, yoga nidra audio, which is a relaxation technique that really gets into the subconscious to reprogram your thoughts and really bring forth what it is that you desire, so that it's running that tape as you're sleeping and really embedding it into the subconscious. ignitedwomen.net. And what else can I tell you? Oh, as I mentioned, I'm going to be starting my online program called Ignite Your Purpose, Discover Your Path. 7-week online program starting on October 23rd.
Awesome. October 23rd. So people can take that next step with you. They can stay connected with you. They can find you on Facebook. Go to ignitedwomen.net. Stay connected with Beth. And Beth, thank you so much for being on here today. Great conversation. Loved you talking about your mom, your purpose, how things have just unfolded for you. It is absolutely beautiful. And thank you for the light that you are, the ignited light that you are in the world for these beautiful women.
This was a tremendous amount of fun. I'm so honored to be a part of this. Thank you for all that you do for bringing out the best in each of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Beth. Have the best day ever, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Bye.